Welcome to Color Me Happy podcast. My name is Brandy Hofer. Thank you so much for being here. I'm your host, and I sure do appreciate your time. It's such a pleasure meeting with all these beautiful people and having you here listening. It's just one of the greatest honors of my life, so thank you very much. I can't believe that so many people listen. It's so great, and it's growing, and I never thought I'd find myself here because I do tend to F up on a regular basis. But somehow I learned to string together sentences, kind of. So thank you for listening to my kind of sentences all strung together. I'm really excited to announce that my book is so darn close. I am struggling on Amazon to get the cover uploaded properly at the moment. And I'm going to go the extra step of ordering the physical copy and seeing if it turned out right, and then getting it back, and then having it ready to go. So, I hope 2 weeks tops. Right. Okay. So if you do like this podcast, you will really super like my book because I organized my thoughts for 2 years, so they make more sense. And other people help me organize my thoughts so they make sense to others. Yeah. Anyway, if you're kind of like me, you think things, but you can't always communicate exactly what you mean. Struggling. Yes. And if you like this podcast, we talk about, if you're new, we talk about so many cool things and, money mindset, mostly how to feel good and get inspired, I would say overall. And then real stuff we talk about sex, which still I'm uncomfortable talking about, but we talk about it because it's important. If you didn't get that one, it's called Let's Talk About Sex with Heather. And then that one was so popular, we did it again. So I didn't go and listen to them again because I feel like I would then take them off for intense embarrassment. My own podcast actually is intense embarrassment, so I don't listen to it too hard, but my guests are amazing, and that's what keeps me going and keeps me keeping the podcast on air for other people's ears. So also, we do have our beautiful community, and it is just as special as the podcast. It's called Color Me Happy Community. It's always in the links, or for the most part when I remember, for you to join. It's free, and I share a whole bunch of thoughts on there, and we do member features, so people who are featured on the podcast are featured in the community as well, and in my newsletter. So either sign up for the newsletter or join the community because they're so great and they'll make you feel good, I promise. I also am an artist, so there's fun art stuff in there too, but mostly beautiful life lessons. I always call it weekend inspiration. So grab your hot cup of whatever you drink, tea or coffee, and we get inspired. It's pretty cool. It's taken a long time to get here, and it's a lot of fun. This week, we actually sit down with Jodi Miller, a fellow Saskatchewan artist, Canadian, and it's quite an episode. I didn't realize it was so long, probably because it was so awesome. And it was so organic, and it was like sitting with a friend. So I didn't notice that we talked for such a long, long time. And Jodi actually wanted to just have coffee. She only lives 2 hours away from me, so I can't wait to meet her in person. But I was like, why don't we meet online for a podcast instead? And we'll capture the beautiful moment of us meeting for the first time. And it was. And Jodi has the most interesting story, and you'll obviously hear it and more in depth and detail how she got where she is. But she served in the Canadian Forces. She signed up at 17, and I doubt she knew what she was getting into, but she's an artist now and a creative, and I want you to hear the whole evolution of her tale and how she got there. And yeah, so thanks for being here, and I hope you enjoy this episode just as much as I enjoyed sitting down and meeting my very new friend. Perfect. Okay, so we have Jodi Miller here. We're having a little coffee date, a mother artist coffee date.
Indeed. Good for our sanity too.
Yeah, exactly. So welcome. Jodi just wanted to have a coffee. I was like, come on my podcast. Right.
Sure.
If you're willing. Anyway, we were just talking about your teens and how my studio manager always says, she's like, they're all getting into the teen years and they need me. I feel like I need to be here more than ever for them, like more than like the toddler stage, but in a different way.
It is. I think it's totally different. I feel really lucky so when mine were babies, if we back up a couple steps, I was still in the military at that point. So they were in daycare.
You were in the military?
Oh yeah. We have lots to catch up on, my friend.
Cool. Not my kind of cool, but I would love to hear about it.
Yeah, I'm grateful for all of my experiences, for sure. But they kind of went from it was hard as a mom, and especially as a new mom, right? Because we had the 1 year mat leave and they're immediately in daycare. And that's how it was until they were like 7, 5, and 4 is when I actually sort of shifted out, if it's that long ago. Wow. And I thought, yeah, well, now they don't really need me, but I think your friend is right. Like, yeah, I feel like they need you differently, now. And my pre-calculus brain hurts a little bit when we try to go through those things, but I'm so grateful to be able to be there to do that. And I can make it to the after school volleyball games that are at random times. And all of that stuff has been awesome to connect with them and watch them become independent sort of humans.
Mm-hmm. And coming from a place where you couldn't maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I appreciate it.
It's just that much more incredible and special.
Yeah.
I remember working full time with Gus, my first, and it just broke my heart. It was 2 years of sheer torture, and I just thought, if we can make it work where I can be at home and if we just figure this out,
yeah,
it needs to happen. I don't know Gus, and it's fine with, everyone's different. I'm not saying that you should feel bad if you didn't do this, but I just couldn't do it. I had to be there with him and showing him things, and I just missed him so much, and he's all
I know. It's so funny because I think it's us that misses them. Those were some of the hardest. Those are really hard moments to go back after each sort of mat leave with the 3 kids. And the one great piece of advice that I got from a good friend of mine who was in a similar situation, she said, the more people that love your child, and you need to believe that they are loving them, because otherwise they wouldn't be helping toilet train them, then that's better for your kid. It's okay. You're still a great mom. And I was like, sometimes I think as moms, you just need to hear, no matter what your, choices are or what place you are then, is that it's okay. You are doing the best you can in that very moment. So
for sure.
Yeah.
You are. And Teddy's 3. So I'm still I would say, so now I'm part-time at home and part-time, obviously, running.
And what a beautiful combination. And I have no idea how you have
great. It's great. It's a nice balance, but I definitely got sick of I went from working full-time to being I gotta stay home, and then staying home for almost a decade and being I'm so fucking done with being at home with these guys. I can't take it anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think that's
I
all
need
part
to
of the
see
evolution.
adults and I need to like have 3 seconds to use my brain, not cleaning stuff up. Because mine are like
You.
a whirlwind of disgusting messes. So
Well, the disgusting messes come in different shapes and forms. So yeah.
yeah. Do you have girls or boys or a mix?
I have boy, girl, boy. Yeah. So
Oh,
16, 14, 12. Yeah.
that's
Yep.
nice.
It's
That's
been
being
super.
a toddler. Like that's a good balance. I'm gonna say I wouldn't want to be a teen mom of that, but
I don't know any different. And you know what? I'm so lucky because they're awesome. They are awesome
good.
kids. And yeah, they, knock on wood, but they haven't like cut me out of their lives just yet or anything.
They
So
don't hate you?
no, they don't. We actually all get along really well. We have pretty good laughs together. And they have even sometimes, it's a rare occasion, gone so far as to say, okay, well, you're pretty cool, Mom. Like,
Really?
right?
I
Like,
found
that's
my
a
like
win in my
happy
world.
face diary from when I was 14, like
Oh,
covered in like, that
mm-hmm.
90s vibe. And no, I don't know. I'm not good with time and numbers, but I couldn't even get through it because like so much was like hating on my mom.
I
I was
know,
like, perspective.
right?
She
Yeah.
won't let me blah 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 with so and so, and I'm like, I can't even read this. I like got halfway through the first page.
Oh,
I don't even want to go here.
yeah. I
But
came across
like,
those
you're
too.
so nice. So well, my mom was nice too. She does not deserve to be hated.
I think that our parents maybe, and I'm sure I'm older than you by quite a bit, but I think that our parents just came from such a different generation, right? Of like parent, kid, and certainly we have that, but I guess I've always I strive to be somewhere in that balance where I'm still like real. Like I'm a person too. You're a person, I'm a person. Let's talk.
Mhm.
Here together and just
Instead of just like an authority figure, and we are not sharing emotions, and we're not sharing like you can't do that. You can't do that, and we know that doesn't work. We like at this point, like things are coming out, studies are done.
totally.
I always use this example of like dog training. I'm not a super dog pet owner or anything, but if you look at like strict discipline and like beating a dog, how does that dog react? It has its tail between its legs. It's afraid to do anything. It sits in a corner. It hides away. But if you positively reinforce a dog from a pup on and have treats and love and care, how does that dog act? Like it's happy, it listens, it's happy to listen, it looks at you like with adoring eyes. Like so those are like, just do that to humans in a nice way. I mean, there's a balance.
Yes. Can we just have a little bit more compassion and love? And yeah, I think one of the things that I love in my work and I love to pass on to the kids is just that ability to just connect, just meet the person, enjoy the process and be present in that and just listen, to try to listen. Still working on that skill, obviously, but
yeah,
we try hard. We try hard.
No, one of my friends, she has a teenager. She had kids before, and she's like, I'm trying to be really open about the stuff, and like her dad's really good at it, and I'm trying, and I'm sitting there, and I'm listening, and I'm just like, sometimes I'm like, la 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 la.
Actually have made those noises before with my kids. I'm like, okay, guys, like I'm so down with the lingo, but that's TMI right now. Like,
I want to be open because I just remember not knowing, and we talked about it a lot in I don't know if you listened to the podcast, but we talked that Let's Talk About Sex, the first one, and then this
yeah,
like, so I revealed a lot there, way too much probably. But that's how other people learn, and that's how other people grow, and we don't talk about it, and that's why I did. And I didn't. It was like, but it was a time. It was like a circumstance, that's, we didn't talk about it. Like it was like, no.
Right.
And so I had to learn all that myself because we didn't talk about it. And I just think that's probably the wrong way to go about it. I made so many errors and judgment if I had the knowledge. And especially with young men, like I really want them to respect boundaries of other people. And so that comes with like communicating, like what is safe touching, what is permission, what is any of that, because also I came out of a time when like, all these sports, this is a hot topic, sorry, but all these sports things are coming out of like this. I'm like, of course, like I can name more than on my hands from just high school alone, what teams and coaches and things that happen, but we didn't talk about it. It was like somehow like just stuff that happened and we brush it under the rug or sweep it under the rug. And so let's talk about it. Let's be open and let those things not happen. So
the communication part is like, so yeah, I just want, I guess and maybe, back to the fear-based or not, I feel like if we can just approach things a little bit kinder, and I want my kids to not be afraid to pursue what they want, not be afraid to speak their minds, not live in that. And it's not a constant state of fear. I mean, goodness, we live in Canada. It's awesome. But there are those things that you're kind of afraid to actually approach or say or do. And I think that hampers us from finding our authentic self, right?
For sure. 100%. I want to talk about, so how you went from, like, did you do art in the military, or like, how did that transition happen, like, early on?
Yeah, kind of the weird. I get that a lot where people are like, okay, so which side of the brain? I'm like, oh no, I like to like use it all, kind of mush it all together. Anyway, so I'm from small town Saskatchewan originally, and I always loved art, but I also come from a really practical family, and that was not something that was viewed maybe as a actual viable career option for me. So me being me, I was like, okay, fine, get me out of this small town. I need to see the world then. So the best way I could think of to do that was to do something that nobody else was doing, which was to go sign on a dotted line when I was 17 and really had no idea.
Right? How could you? You were 17.
Right? Yeah. So that's kind of how that happened. And I remember when I got the call from the recruiter saying, hey, congratulations, we're taking you on as an aerospace engineer. And I was still so naive that I was like, okay, like, don't engineers like drive trains? I don't really understand. And so they're like, no, you're going to work with planes. I'm like, oh, okay, I love planes. Like, planes are cool. Where do I sign? Right? So this is kind of, I just threw myself in, went to basic training. I went to the Royal Military College is where I took my degree, but through art, like I kind of kept that as my sideline stress relief. And I had my sketchbook, like I found one just the other day, actually through university. And yeah, that would be my exam routine sort of, I guess, stress relief to say, okay, well, now I'm going to just draw for a couple minutes or whatever. So it was always a part of things. And after I had my first kid, I started painting again because I hadn't done that ever on my maternity leave. And I loved it. We talked about, okay, like, how can I do this more with my husband? And I couldn't, like, because I had signed a contract and I had obligatory service and I had very, very cool. I lived in England for 3 years and I needed to pay them back for that kind of stuff. So I got my wish of like definitely traveling and meeting cool people, but I lost some of those freedoms, right? So that's not something I take lightly. And so when I was finally kind of eligible to retire, I had that on no, I'm going to do it. And I had so many people say, you're going to what? Because of course I'm surrounded by very brilliant, talented engineers, project managers.
Oh, yeah, I was like, you have to be super.
That was my world.
An engineer for that. Like you have to be also have some strengths in other areas.
Yeah, I guess so. I think I did. it was fun. I learned a lot.
Yes, you did, because I sure as shit wouldn't travel on a plane that I was in charge of anything that had to do with it on. Like, I wouldn't let any human on there.
Yeah, I guess that's part of, yeah, that was all part of it. And for me, it was always about the people and the connections and the adventures, like, yeah, just seeing the world and to be able to get out and do all of that, and then have this sort of in the back of my head, like, but I'm going to give myself permission to see if I can make this work. So yeah, I had all the curious looks upon my sort of retirement from the military, and they're like, so you're gonna what? I'm like, no, I'm gonna paint. They're like, oh, okay, sure you are. Okay, yeah. So I think that maybe that stubbornness in me, I don't know, but I was like, oh, you wait, because I am going to do this. So I tried to be kind and give myself time and explore the mediums, and I don't know, and learn, just like learn, right? So yeah, I guess that was 2015. I made the switch to full-time artist, and I haven't looked back. So here we are.
That's amazing. You did make it work. You figured out a way. And like you said, it's a nice balance. Like, you get to be present. And when we think about time and looking back, and you want to know that you were there fully in any capable form, in any way you could. You made it work to the way that would, when you have family, like, you just don't realize that it's not forever. Like,
oh gosh. And I think we were just talking about that, about time speeding up. And I think it was, yeah, my oldest, and, he's in grade 11 now. I don't know how this happened. Okay. And yeah. And, so now he's thinking ahead, and it's scary, right? To think, wow, where did the time go? But one of my favorite books is Essentialism. And in that, it's like really kind of, and I try to do this exercise regularly, of just saying, what does my life need to be about? Like, rather than all these different things in all these directions, what are my one or two things that matter, right? And then how can I put my energy behind that? And of course, so my kids always come out on top of that pile, and I need to remind myself that no, with all these other bits and temptation, it's not even temptation. It's like, I should be doing more. I could be doing this, or I'm like, no, I need to make sure that this part is protected, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it can go the other way as well. I was talking with my neighbor the other day, and she's running around she's probably going to listen to this because she listens to podcasts, but she's like, we have a great little neighborhood. It's full of great people, and we're so lucky. But she's like, I have 2 hockey games here, and 2 here, and 3 there. And I was like, I'm just going to say this, and it may sound selfish, but I'm not fucking doing that. Like, I might, once it comes, like, who knows? But like, I'm like, I want time for doing the stuff that I love, and I'm not going to do that. Like, I just can't. Like, I can't, like, my kids are not, it's very unlikely that they'll ever go into any career that has anything to do with hockey. And to sacrifice our whole and not saying what, like, she's doing is wrong by any form. It fits into their lives. She loves doing it. She loves to see how passionate they are about it.
Right.
Me, and my mom was kind of like this too, and I never understood, because everyone was always at all the parents were at our volleyball games or whatever. Right. And she was also a single parent, but
wow,
she wasn't there. She was just like, couldn't be. And like, it was enough that I had to practice and go to games 3 or 4 times a week. Like, and then for her to pick me up and drop me off, like, that was enough on top of her full time and the other siblings. But I'm like, we're not sacrificing everyone's time to, like, and careers and dreams to watch them play hockey when they're 8. Like, we're gonna have to figure out a way to,
I think the healthy part to me is to try to find that balance, and I guess that goes back to every person in this house matters equally, right? Like,
Yeah.
so super cool if you're passionate about that. And the kids have been so supportive of like, you know, when you have your, maybe you don't have those, but like the art block moments of like, oh my God, I forget everything. I don't know how to paint. I hate this. Like, what am I doing? Okay, so that goes through my head occasionally. But, you know, to be able to have them pick me out there, but know that, no, that's mom's thing. And then also I will tell them like, guys, you're your own person too. So when you need to go to soccer practice, volleyball, tennis, like, cool, I'll be there when I can. But it doesn't mean because I'm not there that you're not as good,
No.
right? And you're just as loved. And I think that as parents, sometimes we are so hard on ourselves to compete. It's like competing with how other people manage their time. And I don't know why. I guess I do know why, because it surrounds us and it's hard to escape, right? But I think if we can just find that inner peace balance to say, hey, you know what? I am doing a good job. I'm going to give myself permission to enjoy this aspect of my life that doesn't have anything to do with my kids as well. Because that's teaching them skills too. Like those skills, they need those. They need to know it's okay to pursue what you want to do, not what someone else thinks.
Exactly. Yeah. And yeah, to not like, I had to say, I'm not going to feel bad about it. Right? Like
we have to keep saying that.
I had to like explain myself, which maybe I shouldn't have to, but I worked so hard for my career to get to even like a point where I'm making money.
Okay. And just say congratulations for all of your cool stuff. Like, I'm so thrilled for you. This has been such a huge like year, I think.
Yeah, it's been transitional, and I'm not going to say it was easy. I worked very, very hard, and I'm not saying I'm there yet either. But I went from, you know, and I was full-time parenting, so that was a season, right? It's like I couldn't have done what I am doing with new babies.
Right. Yeah.
At that point I was like, if I can make a custom artwork or get some painting done, that was where like a little bit of time went. But yeah, it has evolved into something more, and it took a lot of inner work and acceptance in so many areas, like accepting that I do need money to help other people. Like you can help other people, but I actually, money's not bad. It's nice to have. And I can, when I have more, like this project coming up, it's a big giant one, and I get to donate $25,000 back in partnership with another into creative trauma programming into our community. So I need a whole bunch of money in order to do that, right? Yeah. Like we have to plan it, we have to see it, we have to get it. We still have to get it from the community. Like there's so many, but like before I'd be like, it'd just be filled with fear and filled with, you know, I don't deserve it. Or, and I talked
deserve. Oh my gosh, that word, right?
Newsletter last week. Like I didn't even, when I came out of university, think I deserved a car. So I've come a really long way.
Mm-hmm. For you doing the work.
Yeah. So yeah, we don't have to apologize for being who we are. And it is a great example to set for not only our children, but others. Like I wake up with so many kind messages. I have the best one today, and I like start to cry, like how this is happening. I don't know, but I'm really, really grateful. Like very, very. And our conversation today, like, you know, like I'm so happy that it's allowed me to make these connections, and
it's the connections. That's amazing to me.
It's seeing the world, you know, like people love to complain about Instagram and how the algorithm is against them. But as soon as I started seeing the algorithm with me, and the fact that it's the reason I have you as a friend, it's the reason I have all this community and these women. And as soon as like my husband this morning was reading news from his phone, and he was telling me about it. I was like, you know, I just actually picked up my Jen Sincero book this morning of daily reminders of
you were a badass, and it said like something like you are powerful and you can help others, like something like that. So that I'm like, that we can help people. And he's like, blah, blah, blah from the news. I'm like, that's the difference between what's happening. You're delving into the deep, not that that's not important, but maybe have your coffee and like see how you have the ability to better the world.
I think each of us brings so many gifts, right? And I don't know if it was the time or place being raised, but I feel like sometimes we undervalue those. And like that goes back to that whole principle of deserving, or I am enough and I can continue to be enough while I'm still growing, right? Like it's not one or the other. It's like a continuous evolution. And kids are such an awesome example of watching that evolution like in real time, really quickly happen, right? But to be able to, have gratitude and practice it and know that, hey, do you know what? This isn't an like inherent skill. I can learn this. I can be better at this. And that your mindset matters as much as your, when you pick up a brush or whatever it is, your medium, right? That matters as much as what you're actually applying to a canvas, I think. Anyway.
It's more than creating the artwork. And it came out of like art school, for example, very competitive, very, and Kevin Lido, who is a muralist, who will be my first male podcast guest.
Yay! Okay, that's okay too. Good.
Yeah. I was like, he's so great, and actually never met him, but I just like think he's done very big community projects, so I just assumed he was great from doing them. And he talked about like he likes a level of critique, and he loves to reflect, and he loves that part of art. But he also found like the part of competitiveness and independence and the gallery world, and like he's like, I tried for so long to make that work, and I came from that too. Like I tried so long to make that structure work, and it wasn't. So accepting that it wasn't a failure, and this is probably the first time I'm saying this, it's not a failure that, making a painting and selling it through a gallery or doing just custom work, it didn't work. But that
wasn't your model.
No, that meant that, my words had power, and also that took a long time to accept that I could write, and because people told me I couldn't. So many things to overcome.
Right.
And that not competing and having community and giving people my time was the part of my journey that was meant to be successful. And then it actually supported all the other stuff somehow.
Well, I think it's all part of the big package, right? And I love your words on like not competing, but just being part of a community. And I agree, like Instagram and like social media has been great for that for me. And to learn to let go of whatever expectations you had on like, I want this gallery, I want that, and just accept that this is your journey. And yeah.
Drop the snobbery. Like, don't feel like, and it is snobbery. Like, don't feel like if you didn't do that and if that didn't work, that is so okay. Right?
Yeah. Yes.
It does work for some people.
And I think we need to separate that too. That doesn't mean it needs to work for everyone, right? Like we're all so different. And I think that the sooner you can embrace that and not measure or compete against those people that aren't, they're not you, right?
And everyone's afraid to share who they are, like it's okay that you're sharing the fact that you love avocados and you can't help but paint them over and over again, and you're obsessed with food. That's you. That's right. Share that part of you, because there's other people who also love avocados and and can't get enough of whatever. Like Volta, she came on and she's like, when you're in New York, please take some extra pictures of food and send them to me. Like, you know, and she has found so many people in the culinary world who, you know, love her illustrations and stuff of food, and she's made a career out of it. Like, how cool is that?
Love it.
So the sooner you embrace your weird, quirky self, and accept that everything in your life was a building block to the foundation of who you were meant to be, especially with like you, like aviation and like you paint skies.
I guess so. And it's so funny because I didn't really get that. And when I first got back to painting, I'm like, oh no, I can't paint skies. Like I can't paint clouds. Like I can't no. And now of course, I don't know. There's so much self-doubt that you need to work through, right? And accept that, no, this is like clearly, it just keeps calling me back. So I just need to be okay with that. And
look behind your head. How many ways can you paint the sky?
Oh, I'm just scratching the iceberg. I think
right?
I'm realizing now that
and you kind of live in the perfect place.
Yeah, that was another part. I think that was a huge lesson in acceptance for me moving back to the prairies, because I feel like when I was 17 and joined the military and off on my grand adventures, I was like putting this all behind me and not fully maybe accepting of the fact that, no, this is part of me. This is, this has made me who I am. And that's a good thing. Hard, not hard, all the bits go into you, right? So to be able to come back and sort of embrace that, okay, I'm back. What does that mean for me, my family? Like, to really dig deep into those kind of questions and be like, you know what? I never noticed how beautiful it was in the big wide open spaces. And I remember being at university in Ontario and having so many people be like, okay, you're from the Gap, you're from like the Flatlander or whatever. And you kind of chuckle along with it, but it just, it kind of gets in your own head. And then to realize, no, I don't think you understand what it's like to be under that sky and to look up and to realize, you know what, it's huge. And
there's a quiet peace here.
Yep. Yeah.
Leaving to figure that out, to appreciate where you're from and the good things about it. Like when I went to France and everyone's like, ooh, France.
I know.
France looks exactly like where I live. Actually,
there are so many. I was just there this summer.
Besides the like terrible winters we have. Like, I'm not gonna lie, the winter
cold
is special. However, we appreciate the seasons and the change of seasons that much more. And summer is like the biggest treat on earth after you've gotten through minus 47.
Yeah, that's what we like to joke. But honestly, some of my greatest photos come from winter. So I'm like, oh, it's good.
It's pretty cool. We have open skies in the winter. Like, I've lived on the East Coast in the winter and it is great. And I cannot take it. We have open, sunny skies. It's effing cold and you see your breath and your eyelashes freeze to your
your eyes like freeze closed.
But it's pretty sparkly and beautiful and white and pretty cool. And then like recently going to New York and like being on sensory overload and then getting to come home to the peace and quiet, like, wow. And when I had that bad it wasn't confrontational because I was just in shock as that person was saying all those things to me. But when she was like, so you live and you're from the prairies, like ew, right? And I was like, pardon? What? Like, what? And that was just like, all of a sudden, this pride spilled out about where we live. I'm like, last week, I just witnessed, and I actually get to work with our health foundation now. Our health foundation with some really special individuals just raised $500,000 in like 12 hours for, I keep hitting things with my hands around me. There is something so special about the sense of community here. And that just because we live here, like there is no bounds on what we can do and what we can do together. And like my stomach just dropped. Like it is so extraordinary, and I get to be a part of it. And everyone's community has something special.
That's it. That's it. It's like being able to celebrate where you are right now, because there's something that you can take away from everywhere, I think.
For sure. For
Yeah.
sure. There, when I was living in France, the people who were there, I actually mostly cooked. I didn't paint as much as I went there to paint.
Cooking is good.
They had all these trees. It was September, and they had apple trees and pear trees. And I was like, are you going to let these go to waste, everyone?
Nice.
I
Absolutely.
think it might have been, admittedly, and like tooting my own horn, I think it might have been me connecting these people together, but I cooked. We had a chef, and he was really great too. But at night, I would like make us all have dance parties and special dinners, and I would make like apple butter and pear tart, and we would like go on trips with each other and go have like champagne, because we were in that region, champagne and crepes, and I think there was just something that we made, because I always love family. Like I really love connection and family and people. And this crazy Canadian just brought these people together, because we were like writers and paint, like we weren't all the filmmakers, like we were not doing the same thing. And so they were like, this is our most special like residency group we've ever had here. Yeah. And like, would you like to come back? And you can stay here for free if you cook for us all.
If you cook. With this one caveat. Yes, exactly.
Like, that's finding the magic in wherever you are. And I had just gone to Montreal and done this other project, and I was really afraid, and I just kind of decided that I wasn't going to be, and this was my like opportunity to meet people and discover new things. And that was like a spark and a switch that flicked on, because I did all of this alone, right? I was with my current partner and husband, but like I didn't have to worry about all that other stuff. It was like something had shifted. And so now every time I go on a trip, especially solo, like it's that same thing. You just find the community, and you use that ability to, it's your opportunity to meet others and make those connections that you could have for the rest of your life.
I think that must be one of your best gifts, honestly, to be able to see those communities and facilitate all of that. I think that is one of the things I most admire about Brandy.
I got stuck on the street a lot in New York. Like, who's this person who seems to want to talk to me?
Right. Well, yeah,
we'll help each other if someone's in trouble. That's what they say in New York. But like, I think, because I was so excited to be there, and I was like looking around, like not, usually if tourists are there, they're like with each other. But I was like, look at these pigeons,
Some of the photos I think that I take, my kids know now, and they howl. In fact, they're actually becoming quite
Meister.
Yeah, they'll be like, I'm like lying on the ground going, oh my goodness, there's like a shadow, and look at this, like this little wee flower, like right here. And they're like, okay, mom, and it's stuff that I think, it's finding those and connecting those dots, and just taking, if I can give them one sort of, thought, it's like trying to find that marvel in the everyday. Like, can you that challenge of like, can you make today just special? Not because it needs to be your
title. See your everyday ordinary is extraordinary.
Yes, love it.
Were your parent? You said you
continue on your personal device.
Oh, okay.
Time to continue.
Yeah. I feel like it comes from a little bit parents. Like, did you have a quirk? My dad is super quirky. Like, in that way, like we took this like 2-week trip to BC. He would almost, and the roads are not like they are here in the prairie. Like,
I know. No. Yes.
You cannot take the risks of looking around, but he did. No. He would like almost swerve off a mountain. Right. He'd be like, look at that waterfall, girls, Zach, look. And like, it would be like the 50th time he said that.
Yep.
And I talk about this in my book, but he bought land after my parents separated, and he like dug it all up like 20 feet by like
Cool.
under, and he like hired a crew to come in and like carve out the land of like a river. And
I love it.
we were all like, we live in marshland, like it is just like you're digging more mosquito infested areas.
That is not
fast forward 20 years later, it is like
stunning.
a dream oasis of, he saw it, we didn't, he was right. And now I go out there with my kids every week and we just bask in it all. Like, so he's kind of like that, you know, basking in the wonder of everyday life person.
Were my parents like that? The short answer is probably not. They were more practical. My dad was a farmer. My mom was a teacher. She was super caring. And unfortunately, she passed away sort of 2 weeks right before my daughter was born. So that was, lots to deal with.
Second, or?
It was my second. Yeah. My daughter's my second one. So we all have stories and different things, but certainly I think it was that moment, as sad as it was, and the few months that led up to that made me go, oh, wow, life is not a guarantee, right? Mm-hmm. So it was that sort of reflection and digging deep and seeing where I was at that point in the military and having kids, and that shift to really make it, and she passed away, and a week later in one of her notebooks, because she was notorious for carrying notebooks for a variety of, like she had ideas and they would go down and lists everywhere.
She sounds a little bit quirky then.
Well, she was a little quirky that way. Yeah. But I found on one of those pages, and it just said, you choose. Don't take things for granted. You always have a choice. And I thought, oh, okay, what will I choose? And so, this is like 14 years ago now. So a lot of time for reflection. And I think those, that reflection and that work and that appreciation, it was like a chance for me to not take things for granted and to not, I think, that was maybe, I hope that was something that she left for me. And I hope I've done that.
Somehow a gift. Like, obviously we would want them around, like, no doubt. But can we view it as a gift of, not wasting our time and continuing to live our lives in their honor and the things that they taught us, like the small little.
Yeah. And it's funny because she didn't preach those kind of lessons necessarily while she was around. It was different, right? But I think that as I started sort of down my parenting journey, and I thought, oh no, I have choices here too. I don't have to parent like I was parented either, right? So you choose. That's kind of always been a slogan of mine. So what will I choose? What will I choose to see? How will I choose to view this as an opportunity or a detriment? And I always pick opportunity, or I try to.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the depths of grief obviously can take you really, really deep. And you do get to choose whether you want to just sit there in it or, find strength and move forward. And strength not in like, being strong versus weak. Like you can sit there and you can sit in it, but are you going to stay? Because who is that benefiting? It's not. And I think having kids in the midst of loss, you don't really have a choice. Like, oh my gosh. It's not about you.
No, and nothing stays still, right, long enough. And so it took me years to try to, I think, work through those pieces and to sort of admit that, no, like it's okay to still pursue your dreams, even though it's scary, even though it's uncertain. You can still take those choices and lead that, way and find that. And I think that's part of being deserving too, where I, for a long time, didn't give myself permission because I didn't think I deserved it or whatever. Right. And right. But to now be like, no, it's okay. And it's okay, even after a loss, to still find joy in the everyday, right? Like that's okay. You need to give yourself permission to move through all the experiences, but also find happiness. Like,
Mhm.
I hope.
Yeah, like they want you to be happy.
Yep. Like the biggest, I'm reading another book on parenting because I'm always reading books on parenting as well, called Raising Happiness. And it's like dog training, right? Like you go and it's like not really about the dog, it's about training the owner. So
Yeah.
probably not really about the kids, but like recognizing that, oh, like out of everything I want for my kids, I just want them to be happy, healthy and happy. Like that's it, right? So how can I lead by that example? And
Mm.
yeah, that's my goal.
Yeah. I love, and surprisingly, now I get to work with kids and I actually really love it because it's an opportunity for me to, talk about those things, self-worth and the things that weren't taught to me in school, like things we didn't cover because it's not, self-worth isn't a core curriculum item.
Right. Yeah.
It's a lot different than when we were in school.
Which is good.
Yeah, which is great. And teachers are doing a fantastic job.
Mhm.
But I'm enjoying that part of it so much. Like I don't show up to our art academy just with like a plan of
Just art.
making art. We did, and I talk about this in our community, and quite a bit is I get to instead of I have to.
Totally. I have actually, yeah, I have one of those on the wall too. Yeah.
Yeah. So like those little things, like we take 10 minutes. Every class we start with like making space. So that's either like quieting the mind and making space for creativity and reflecting on what's going on, or loving yourself. Every day we show up and they expect to like, we're talking about something. And yesterday we gave out stickers to people we didn't know in the school and like cute stuff like that. And it's so cool and fun. And I wasn't going to be a teacher because people, like when I was young, what did people say about teachers? Like they not good things. I don't want to say it because I don't want to put it out there because I love teachers. And now that my kids are in school, I'm like, they are very important.
Oh my gosh.
I never want to say a bad word about them. They're freaking superheroes and need to be paid double. Like
I know. I think that we underestimate the importance and influence that they have. And I am forever grateful that my art teacher, for example, he always gave me extra opportunities because I couldn't fit everything in my schedule, and my parents weren't super supportive of having art be a part of that schedule. But he would say, no, come in at lunch hour, come in and do this and try it. And yeah, forever grateful for those.
Yeah, change your whole life probably.
Totally. Right? The trajectory, yeah, I'm sure that impacted it. So thank you for all you're doing to change your community that way. That's so cool.
Oh yeah. I honestly don't know how it happened. I feel very lucky.
You manifested it all. It's all good.
I don't know. It was all because of custom artwork. The school system got a custom piece done, and she came to pick it up, and I was like, you guys really need to have an art academy. This is a very long story short, a 2-year story short. And I'm like, it's very important in our community that we have someone teaching this, and this is why, like, it's applicable now more than ever. These skills, like even in a job setting, if you want job things for kids to move into a career, like these skills are
creativity.
I'm teaching happiness, but whatever. When I told them, I'm like, you need them to have these creative skills. They'll never forget it, right? Like we never forgot it. We never forgot those teachers who did those above and beyond things.
Yes.
And so anyway, yeah, I somehow got it started, and it's going to grow into something even more spectacular. But it all comes down to those small things that you don't think about. And when you talked about, the thing that you found in your mom's journal, my mom actually like left me because she had like a year and a half. She didn't have which I found out later. My mom didn't like to talk about things necessarily. But she had only a few months, but it ended up being like a year and a half, I think. So she left these notes on like things that she kept
Wow.
like old letters and pictures and stuff. So she left a bin of each of those things for my siblings and I. And one of them was like this nice letter I had wrote to her thanking her in university for taking me all the way to Halifax and, you know, helping me get settled. And I know she couldn't afford it and all those things. And so I wrote her a letter, like saying thank you.
That's
And
so
I went to
awesome.
list with my brother and sister, but thank you. I love you so much. And then she left a note at the bottom saying, this is what matters in life. Acknowledging and saying thank you and appreciating others. And so like that was just one of many notes. So I've kind of been on this like self-made mission of, you know, fulfilling all her little prophecies. Like it's pretty cool. And I did include a lot of them. I love the one where she said, dismiss with love all those who do not see beauty in the world.
Oh,
Yeah.
that is brilliant.
Yeah. My mom, I wish she could have pursued like some sort of creativity. She was a brilliant photographer.
Wow.
And she was so intelligent and was I have all her letters. Like she was a
writer,
amazing writer. So yeah, it's pretty cool that, like I get to experience her on a different level and get to know her through those things. And I'm sure when my kids are grown, I'll have more time to weep over that tub full of memories.
I think that, there's a time they kind of come to you when you need them, I find.
Yeah.
Those little snippets or like even just connecting with you. And I'm like, yeah, like I needed to feel that sense of community and a reminder of all those other beautiful people out there that are just kind of following their dreams, doing their thing, right? So
yeah, but you have to be open. Like there's something about being open to it. Like with this project, this big project, this mural project, there's so many community elements and other people involved. And I'm like, should I do this? Like, it's going to take all of me and more. Like, we know murals are so physically demanding, but not only that, like this one is truth and reconciliation. So,
so
it's
important.
Like a very, it's going to be important for so many people. It is important. And acknowledgement and doing it the right way, in the best way to support everyone in our community and surrounding area. And so it took a lot of like, it was scary. And should I be putting these puzzle pieces together and these people and so eventually those people did become a part of it. And I run in the woods, and my mom loved chickadees. She loved chickadees. She always, when we went up north fishing, past like the Beaver River area, she would take me every year. And so she loved chickadees, and her ashes are on the Beaver River. And it's so one day I was really thinking about it, and I just went to this area in the woods, and I could hear the chickadees singing. And then so I just like put my hands out.
Oh my gosh.
And they landed on my hands, and I was just like standing there crying.
My gosh.
Like, if that's not a sign, I don't know what is. Like, I've never had an animal land on my body for any reason. I don't feed them. Like, this was like, you are on the right path. Like, this is important, and you have to move forward with it. And it might be challenging at times, but that doesn't matter. Like,
no,
you need to be strong and do this. So
that is such a powerful story.
Yeah.
Gosh.
I just like, and no one can, I like came home and I was like, birds landed on my hands. Just like, you wouldn't believe it. And of course, you know, it's going to come back to like, my mom was weird later in life. Right?
We're all weird. I
just couldn't believe it. Like,
wow.
It's nuts. So you're there with us guiding, but you got to be open.
I think so. I think you just have to kind of accept that you don't always know the path, and that's okay. And you don't, what you think of right now, that's been a big lesson for me. What I thought of as success or how you were measuring, that doesn't need to be the only way of measuring, right? Like that's just an increment on this crazy journey of awesome. So yeah, but I love your words about, yeah, we just need to be open. I think that's what you try to teach the kids too, right? Like, can I just open up and let myself be deserving and be there in that moment and just live right now. Yeah.
And it definitely won't look the way you thought it would.
Oh my gosh. Does it ever? Right? Yeah.
And if you're open, it can be even better.
Yep. Like so much better.
It's so nuts. And like, this is coming from like being ho-hum to being like the world is against me kind of person to, finding openness. And it took so much to get to that spot. And I'm sure I will have ebbs and flows of, but this end is way more fun
than what you projected on the original plan. Yeah.
Like it. Yes.
And the exciting part is that it doesn't end there, right? Like this is just like, oh, now this is a new, road. Like
Katerina Popova, who I got to meet in New York.
Yes, totally want to meet her. Yeah, awesome.
Yeah. So I New York, like there was a lot of pressure too, because we were all at an art fair, right? There's lots of pressure on selling work and stuff like that, and so much. And so I tried to not let it affect me, but it did, because that's just, we're human. And after she messaged me and she's like, you don't know how much like you affect the room and you excite people, and just so you know, this is just the beginning. Like, once you achieve a goal or something you thought you would do, you're like, that was it.
But it's so not.
But she just like, that was another really huge thing. She's like, this is just the beginning. Like, more stuff's gonna happen. Like, you'll see. Like, she is pretty crazy special too, because I have to say she's just such an example for myself and so many women. Like, it doesn't have to just be this way. It can be, this is how I did it, and you're going to do it differently, and that is great. And here's a bunch of friends for you in our community to
awesome
solidify, the art queens. Just work together and look what happens. And it's true. And not only that in like online community, but like find it in your local community. That's even more important, I would say.
I think it's both though. For me, like
it is.
We moved in the middle of COVID, so it was really hard to connect in the local, not right in the middle, but right at the start of COVID, and hard to connect in the local community. So to be able to have that space online and through different platforms, to be able to just find your people, right? And sometimes people shift over time too, and that's important. Like, that's part of our growth. Yeah, it's beautiful to watch. And Art Queens, that's one that I feel like, oh my gosh, I know so many people in this circle. Might need to jump in.
I think you need to jump in. It's pretty great. Lots of fun. And I did say this in one podcast. I was like, the podcast needs to be retitled into Join the Art Queens.
Oh, yeah, so hilarious.
Yeah, no, not my own personal community that I run. No, join both.
I love it.
Free. So the Art Queens isn't very much either, but there's just a real sense of uplifting and hope. And I there's so much that I've gotten to know these women because of this community, and it's great. But I also have my community here, and I also have my own finding community kind of wherever you go. It's super, super important to anything you're doing. Like that tomorrow I get to go to an award ceremony where I was nominated for the Women in Business Award. Like,
great.
What?
Congratulations.
Who I'm working with this mural, Randy, who is a photographer, she's presenting the award So even if I don't win, it's a win to be there with these women.
Oh my gosh.
Like,
Right?
it's crazy. Like, I can't even, honestly, for the last 2 months, I've just been like in shock and awe, and I don't know what to do.
You just need to keep doing what you're doing, right? Like, I think that, yeah, we have such a challenge, especially as women sometimes, where we put this glass ceiling, right? Where we think, oh no, okay, well, this, how did I get here? Like, I probably shouldn't keep going, but
I don't deserve to be here. What? Yeah,
we
like,
need to
it's totally
smash
like,
through
what
that.
the hell? Yeah, like, it is
Deserve it.
bad. It's like, you know, and a shyness about talking about being somewhere, and that it's okay to like relish in the fact that it's nice.
It's like, let's celebrate. Like,
Yeah, it's
there's-
hard. I feel I'm having a hard time with it. I want good things to happen, but being like okay with like, I almost didn't bring it up because I like don't want anyone to feel bad about like not getting an award.
no, it has
Right?
nothing. I think we want to celebrate with you, right? Like, I think we need
You're
to.
really nice.
I'm serious. I feel like when one of us kind of wins and goes forward, then, you know, more often, and yeah, there are sometimes the competitiveness comes back, but
Yeah.
what I find over and over, more often than not, is that people just want to celebrate for you and with you. And by you being happy, they get part of that too. Like, it's all part of the positive emotions and the, you know, creating a community and relationships and everything that uplifts not just ourselves, but those around us too. Like, let's all go for the ride, man.
And that's what I always say. Jealousy is not a bad word. It's just showing you where you want to go.
Yeah, I guess. I've never thought of it that way. That's interesting.
I whole chapter in my book. And in fact, so Jeff, my neighbor, he wrote a book, and this was years ago. And then it was featured on Forbes, and then so all the neighbors were talking about it. And I'm actually having Jeff on my podcast to talk about his journey, because it's very powerful as well. And for some reason, like I was in full time, like Teddy was baby still, standing on the street, like just a painter, I considered myself.
Oh, those words.
Right? Just a painter. And then all of a sudden I was jealous of Jeff for writing a book. Like, and then like it being successful. I'm like, you know, and it didn't take till a year and a half later where I realized that I too wanted, like, it didn't even resonate in that moment. But then reflecting back, like, I clearly wanted to do something like that and be good at it. Who knows? Like, my book is still not out.
I can't wait to see it. When's it coming out? Soon?
The editor, we're in formatting.
Yay!
Been there for a while, but just like, you know, not having mistakes is very important.
Totally.
There will be mistakes for sure, but not a whole bunch.
Right. There will be imperfections. We won't call
the audio is done, and I had 2 people listen to it to listen for like weird sounds. So we did that because I can't do it. I will not be able to get through hearing that, because it's 8.5 hours of me, and I already wrote it and already said it out loud. And I know that I wasn't as good a writer at the beginning than I was at the end. And I wasn't as good at doing the audio at the beginning as I was at the end. And that would be hard for me to accept and just put it out there anyway. So instead of like, I need to do it all over again.
You know what? You can hold on forever. I mean, that's true with everything, right? You could always make one more tweak, one more this, but does it change the full meaning behind it? No.
I just have to leave it. The reason people like what I do is because it's raw and it's me, and that allows them to also be themselves somehow. So just, I promise it'll be out in November.
Good. Okay, we'll keep checking in. I'll keep bugging you.
I promise. But it's jealousy is really, it's not a bad thing. It's like, you know, if someone sells a painting, you also, I mean, we all want to sell paintings. So that's maybe not the best example.
Well, it's okay to want to sell. I think
some people also just want to paint to heal and stuff like that. But if you're jealous of someone for selling a painting and you're at that point and you're just making art for fun, you might want to sell your paintings too and make a business out of it.
Yeah.
So that is a good example in that regard.
Yeah.
At the point where we're professional artists, we always want to sell paintings.
Yeah, we want to find, I guess, you're always like, oh, I want to find homes where people are going to enjoy them. And also where it gives me space to try something new, do something more, right? Like that's
so
all
how
part
can you get there? Visualize yourself creating it, interacting with those people and clients, and visualize yourself. Oh, it's such a mess over here. Packaging it up and writing a nice note. And what all that would look like. And yes, how it will make someone feel in their home. Seeing it happen is the best way for it to actually, it will happen. Okay, so Juliana, my friend who I met in New York, who's from Brazil, who's an artist.
Cool.
She's so, she's also, I'm like triple podcasting this week. I only usually do one, but I'm so excited to talk to everyone I'm talking to. But she's like a manifesting queen as well. But it was so funny. I was talking to my sister, and you just sometimes have to say the words out loud of something you want.
Oh,
okay. It is like crazy. It works. I'm not even joking. And Jeff, who wrote the book, didn't believe in manifesting and he was in like a book writing group.
Yep.
And he's like, so I did the exercise and I wrote, I want to be featured in Forbes. And 1 year later, lo and behold, this shit works. He was featured in Forbes because it's a business management book. And so I did this big custom artwork, really beautiful, of someone who passed away for this family. It was really special. And I said to my sister, I would love to do more big custom artwork, like the little ones. I just need to like be more conscious about my time, but I want to work on my own work. But I also would love to paint like, the stuff I love to do. I love to paint women's portraits. 2 weeks later, what do I have on the ground right now is the underpainting for a 60 by 60 inch portrait of a woman from Texas. Say the shit you want out loud, write it down, write it down.
Yeah.
Tell all your friends because it works. Like, I don't know how, but I
don't think we need to fully know how. We just
it is nuts.
That's so cool. That's awesome.
It's so weird. And with going to New York, I always saw myself. It wasn't a conscious manifestation. I just always saw myself standing there with them. Like, it was just weird. It was just one of those things. So
I think we give ourselves, that's part of giving yourself permission, is to really reflect and think, what is it that like makes me excited? Like what is it that I'm jealous about, I guess, in your words and stuff. Yeah. And then to actually say, okay, what would that look like for me? Right.
Yeah. Right. Because my path is not going to look like yours at all. Right.
No, mine's very weird, but here we are. I'm happy for
I like it. I love hearing. That's why I don't do podcast prep. Typically, like sometimes people approach me with the subject matter, but we rarely focus on it, which is hilarious. But hey buddy, something better always happens. Because there's something really magical about the curiosity of learning about someone's journey.
Okay, I got chippy.
Oh, lucky day. Did you do a picnic?
No.
No? Oh, we'll have to do a picnic later because it's a really nice day. I don't know what is with this weather, but I
love it. I'll soak it up.
Yeah, I will. Yesterday it was hot and I was like, I'm happy to be hot.
Right? I hear you. Yes, more time outside and loving it. I love it all.
Yeah. Okay, they're home. So
got it. Super.
We are coming to a close. And like that about kids, because it's like this like natural, like you've got to move your body and do something else now and go outside.
Exactly. And exactly. Expectations have shifted and now roles are moving in that direction. So enjoy being a mom too, right? Yeah.
This was so fun. And we have to do it again. And I know it'll happen again when I come to town or you come to my town.
I know.
We don't live that far apart. And I go there pretty often. Not a lot of people come here.
Do you
They
know what?
usually
Well,
pass
yeah.
through.
So it used to
You might
be
pass through, and you're welcome to come visit
love
anytime.
to see your
And
face.
or we'll go out for a nice dinner. There's lots of good places to eat in Saskatoon.
Yes, there are.
Yeah,
I got a couple in mind already, so I can't wait.
perfect. I love what is it? Primal?
Primal pasta.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. But like I'm sure there's like spots I have not hit. So we'll go for dinner.
Awesome.
So
Awesome.
neat.
So good. I feel like we were already connected, but so appreciate this today.
Yeah.
Thank
I
you.
feel like we could talk for 3 more hours.
Right? Another time. Another time.
We will.
Oh, have a
Okay.
good-
Have the greatest day ever.
Awesome. Take care, Brandy.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for being here. I sure do appreciate it. And thank you to Jodi for her time. It was such a beautiful conversation. And again, you should definitely think about, if you're not already, becoming a member of our Color Me Happy community on Facebook. The link is in the notes under the whatever they're called. Who cares? I don't know. It's getting really late. I don't usually do this so late because I have a harder time stringing sentences together at night after I've spent the whole day with my filthy animal children. We were at home from school this week, so they were extra filthy and also sick, so that was fun. And we experienced that whole debacle. And I'm just clicking, actually, there we go. Oh, I want to tell you, I'm pulling up Vanessa's amazing tips because she gives us these cool tips. Anyways, she's our sponsor from Nouveau Laser and Aesthetic Center. But I wanted to talk about our community. Make sure you join or subscribe to my newsletter at brandyhoover.ca because for Black Friday, whenever that is, sometime soon, if you're in the US, you know for sure because it comes after your Thanksgiving. But it also happens in Canada too. I'm doing a really big sale on classes and prints, and I'm thinking about maybe like a small, I never put originals on sale. Obviously, I'm a professional artist, and you never want to devalue your work. So it won't be a crazy sale, but I might even do a tiny little original sale. And so I'm only releasing it to members of the community and to my subscribers. So that's where all that will happen. So make sure you get in there. If you love art as much as I do, or more, a lot of my collectors love art more than I do. I just really love making it. They really love having it, which is cool to see. I love having it too, but I have some really dedicated collectors, and my one is she's so amazing. I'll just tell her, she's probably listening. Becky, she's like, they go on trips to see art. They're like, she has a cool story. They had this like crazy flood in their home, and they went back in a boat to rescue their art. That's how much they love art. That's like a dream person to have collecting your work. She's amazing, and I'm so grateful for her. Okay. I will tell you, because I pulled it up, I was clicking. This is a weird myth, and you think it's common sense, but maybe it's not for skin. So this is a skin myth, in fact, by Nouveau Laser and Aesthetic Center from my amazing skin lady. It's really good. This is why I'm like chock full of advertisements. My skin lady, she takes care of my face. My masterful skin face lady, Vanessa. Okay, here's her myth. The order you apply your skincare products doesn't matter. Fact. You apply your skincare products from the thinnest consistency to the thickest to help them absorb properly. Oh, okay. Cleanse, tone, serum, moisturizer, SPF, makeup. Okay, that's a lot of stuff. I've just recently started wearing finding good makeup. And I kind of like it. Makes me feel good. as a busy stay-at-home parent, it's not the top priority, I have to tell you. Washing my body, it's priority number one, on top of that's after you keep them all alive. So, but they have made me feel so good and more confident, because when you show up on camera, sometimes you don't feel as confident. And now I have to show up on camera all the time, which used to be my nightmare, I'll tell you. But I kind of got used to it. And now I actually really but I like speaking publicly, which is a big thing. And I'm just going to put it out there. I want to do a TED Talk one day or something. Just help people through speaking. I guess I am right now. And this is a platform to do so. So it's pretty cool, but I'm going to keep putting things out into the universe. And I advise you to do the same, because if you don't, it won't happen. And if you tuned into the last few episodes, you will know that we and some others and people can manifest, and it's possible to manifest really weird, strange stuff. All you have to do is think about it, say it out loud, write it down. I just saw my friend Katerina Popova. I've seen her do this lots, actually. She has old notes and old Post-its and old things she writes down, and they have come true a lot. And recently she is showing in Paris a whole collection of artwork, and it was something she had written down a few years back. She had also written down making her first 6 figures, and she did it, and I remember back when I saw that, I was like, oh my gosh, that is crazy. That is so crazy. And now it doesn't seem as crazy to me. So I too have started to write things down and to shoot. If you listen to last week's episode with Leah Guzman about money monsters and mindset and stuff like that, she says always say above. So if your goal is $10,000 for a month or whatever, you say above. I want to make above 10,000, not just you got to shoot higher, not just that, 10 plus 10K plus, stuff like that. It's really cool. I love going through Leah's book, and okay, and I've rambled long enough, and be sure to stay tuned for my new book. It's finally happening, almost so freaking close. And I'm sure as soon as it is, I will be talking about it nonstop. Thanks for being here, friend. Enjoy your beautiful day, and I hope you connected to this weekend inspiration, and we will chat soon. If you're looking for some time for yourself to relax, release, and unwind, Oasis has the perfect space for you. They offer yoga and spin classes of all levels. Whether you are a beginner or advanced student, Oasis thrives on accommodating all aspects of the practice. Let their serene environment and gracious staff help you in your journey of peace, healing, and strength. Sign up online at www.oasishotyogastudio.com or by downloading the Oasis Hot Yoga Studio app. Feel like yourself. You deserve it.